What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another piece from the Mozu soundtrack slash score. Once again, this is a show from 2013, as good a show as I've ever seen. Gritty neo-noir, like in the best possible expression of that phrase that there can be. I mentioned it before, the production qualities are just like stupidly, ridiculously good, which is more than I can say for the case here. One of the disc, like that center area, there's like some plastic broken, so like it doesn't hold the disc all that well. But yeah, bottom line, fantastic show, absolutely love it. There's three main characters, but if there is like one main character, it's my man right here. I'm trying to remember the actor's name, Hidetoshi Nishijima, sorry, Hidetoshi Nishijima. Yeah, just a brilliant performance, and it's funny because, you know, you see actors in a lot of things, eventually you see them in very different roles. I definitely have seen him in a much different role than this, but yeah, this one is just, you know, he's a hard, you know, sort of cold to people around him character, although you eventually learn why, and it's complicated, and yeah, but bottom line, brilliant show. I mentioned it before, the soundtrack does very much match that sort of atmosphere and vibe. But we're going to listen to a tune, it's called Gulag Alpha, and it's actually written like in English, like, you know, it's written in the Latin alphabet, but it's not like, that's not translated from Japanese, whereas most of the other tracks are written, as you can see here, in like Japanese characters, whether kanji or hiragana, and then yeah, I've since translated them, but this one actually, like, it's just written Gulag Alpha. In any case, although they show it in katakana here, and if you didn't know katakana as how they write foreign words in Japanese language, it's one of like 4 syllabaries that they have. But yeah, they use it for foreign words. So this is Gulag Alpha. Gulag Alpha is the name of this super secret program among this foreign intelligence agency in Japan, which relates to the story. It happens like before our story begins, but it's immensely relevant to what happens in the active, like, present time story. And yeah, it's funny, this tune, it's basically the first tune you hear. I think maybe you hear like a bit of like dramatic, like a little, like maybe the Mozu theme. Like there's an opening scene where it's sort of like there's some narration over this stylized, again, it's like rainbow light, like onto this book where it's talking about the shrike, the Mozu, the type of bird that again impales its prey. But the first like proper music you hear is the piece we're about to hear, Gulag Alpha, also called Glark Alpha, because I think like Glark is the way that like Gulag is like translated. Regardless, I mentioned the beginning of the show, there's a terroristic act, a bomb goes off. This piece starts playing right after the bomb has gone off, and like one of the main characters who happens to be there, she sees like the dev, like she sees what just happened, and she's like, oh my god, and she kind of like springs into action as everyone's like fleeing and, you know, like panicking and whatever. So the piece is very energetic. It's kind of like, boom, there's something big happening here, like, you know, pay attention, this is the beginning of something crazy, which again, it fits perfectly. And you know, the show starts with the pivotal event of the show, although what we understand about that event continues to evolve over the next 10 episodes. So yeah, it's the tune they hit you with right at the front of the show, and which really kind of grabs your attention. And it's not an action scene per se, because it's really like the action has already happened. It's more like, oh my god, figuring out like, are you okay? Oh my god, that guy doesn't have his limbs and whatever. And then eventually it sort of cuts to a hospital, and so, you know, it's sort of like the show begins in earnest. But this is the tune that leads you into the show proper. So here we go, from Kanno Yugo's soundtrack to Mozu Season 1, 2013. This is the tune Gulag Alpha. Sounds like a bomb ticking, right? love it. Again, it's hard for me to divorce that from the context. Like, you know, it's used in a few different cases. There's another scene later where they're like, you know, much later in the show where the three leads have, you know, begun to kind of trust each other and work together a little bit. And they end up like trying to prevent this woman's kidnapping. And again, I'll leave it as general as I can. And in that scene, it's a bit more of a proper action scene. So again, I would say this track is used in some of the more kinetic, like physical moments. I mean, that scene, there's like a fight scene. But like in the opening episode, again, it's not like an action scene per se. It's like a, oh my god, what just happened sort of scene. And it's such a great way to start the show off. So yeah, once again, shout out to Kanno Yugo. Huge fan of the show, huge fan of the soundtrack. Do let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.